Let's see if they can turn two. There's one. And there's two.
Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My, my. Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. I was alive. My.
Oh, everybody, it is Tuesday, May the 9th, 2017. You are checking out the premier sports and beer podcast coming to you live with roots in New Jersey. But we are technically all over this great nation of ours. Tonight, I think we're actually a Jersey-only show, boys. So that should be a little interesting get for us. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time tonight to listen. Those of you who are checking us out on Facebook Live tonight, we will be posting the link. You can kind of call in. We're going to play around with that a little bit more. We've got a whole lot to get to tonight. But before we do anything, we're going to kind of introduce the panel, and we're going to do it this way. Assuming that I can get my actual act together. Let's try that one more time. Try it this way.
Why don't you go back home to your street malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh yeah! The greatest beer in all Zipper!
Simply from the bar.
Yeah, I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of party. Stick it in the fridge, 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 stick it in the fridge.
All right. So, as we go through tonight, let's go with from Denville. Brett, what are you drinking?
Hello, buddy. How are you?
How are you?
Good. This past weekend, I got my hands. Normally here, I pump Magnify up a lot, but I actually diverted from Magnify this week. I went to Other Half in Brooklyn on Saturday. Got a beer from them, an IPA called Ain't Nothing Nice, and they lied because it is nice. There were some other beers there I wasn't able to get my hands on, which I was kind of bummed out about. But these guys never fail to disappoint. They're an IPA heavy brewery for the most part, and they're producing some of the best stuff around us locally, hands down.
Okay. Is that what is it an IPA?
It is. It's a 6.2% IPA.
Good stuff. Nick, Piscataway for how many more weeks?
Less than a week, actually. Graduate on Sunday.
Less than a week. Congratulations.
Hey, congrats, buddy. Are we doing a live show from the graduation or no? Did we decide that yet? We get tickets. We go.
The Wi-Fi or the connection in the stadium is always horrible because of how many people are there. So
just like their football team.
Do you have some whack-ass commencement speaker?
The guy from Bruce Springsteen and The Sopranos. What the hell's that guy's name? Steven Van Zandt?
Steven Van Zandt. That's awesome.
That should be terrible.
I'm so.
I don't even know if he can still talk at this point in his life, but
do you think he goes out there wearing the bandana or the bad Silvio hairpiece?
I think the Silvio would be better for people like me, Italian Jerseyans, but for everyone else, the headband will probably work.
Hey Nick, before you tell us what you're drinking, we have to know that when you move out of the dorm room, are you still gonna have?
It's not a dorm room.
Are you still gonna have the posters behind you?
Oh yes.
I gotta find a new location at my house in Parsippany, so I'm gonna have to incorporate the posters and the mouthwash and the lotion.
He's gonna bring the posters to work. They're gonna be up in his cubicle, kind of like Yampo has the hockey jersey in his cubicle. What do you drink?
But I'm drinking Flying Fish, Hot Fish IPA. Classic. I always like Flying Fish. Everything they put out for me, at least, is good. So It's always nice to have one of those variety packs that'll last me a few months.
They do a 5K that we did a couple years ago. It was
Oh, yeah?
one of the hottest runs I've ever done. You know it's hot when I finish the run and take my shirt off.
I can't wear clothes anymore.
Wow. I'm like, I don't care I'm so fat, but I can't wear a shirt anymore. This is crazy. From the big whip. Paulie, what do you got?
Jeffrey.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. It's getting warmer. You know, summer's around the corner. So I got a nice seasonal from Harpoon. It's Camp Wana Mango. It's an American ale. Very mango forward. It's pretty good. We'll enjoy it during the summer. Definitely go back to it. So, you know, Harpoon's pretty legit. I think they put out some good stuff from up in Massachusetts. So
Have any of you guys been up there for it?
no.
It's a really cool brewery. They actually have one in Massachusetts that I've been to, but they also have one. I think it's in New Hampshire. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but they do events like that. Like I said,
Windsor, Vermont.
okay, yeah, Vermont. So they do events like I was talking about Flying Fish too. We did a 5-miler up there, and then they open up the whole brewery. They have like tastings of all their seasonal stuff and food. I mean, it's just awesome, and it's just really cool. So definitely recommend Harpoon. They're a good time too. So before we get going, I'm going to tell you what I'm drinking, but I'm going to lead it off with this because I think we have some breaking Turn 2 podcast news.
And good evening, everybody. And despite the fact that I have just knocked a cup of coffee in my lap and a suit that's just out of the cleaners, it's great to be home.
And his first pitch to D. Gordon is almost on the kneecaps for ball one. D just did get out of the way.
It's the first pitch.
Okay, so tonight, if you're watching with us on Facebook Live or if you're listening, you can see I am rocking my Yeti cooler with a Miller Lite inside of it because I have to bring you some unfortunate institutional news from the Turn 2 podcast, and it's kind of an homage. But I've, as one of the founding members, the board of directors got together, and we decided that. You notice you haven't heard Sean on here in a couple weeks, and I think it's important that we're totally upfront with our dozens of fans that listen each week, and explain to them that we've suspended Sean indefinitely. You know, a lot of times when you do these things, you try to keep things above board, try to keep them a certain level, and if you know anything about us, we're definitely about keeping it straight and telling you the truth. So Sean had access to our social media accounts, and he posted something rather inappropriate, a picture. It had a very large black sex toy in the back of a picture that we had, and so we've actually had to go forward and suspend Sean indefinitely. So when he decides to come back and actually be a productive member of the podcast, not perform such tomfoolery, such ballyhoo, if you will, we will welcome him back. But he is currently serving an indefinite suspension. So, Sean, if you're out there, we encourage you to get help from your social media vulgar addiction that you have there. Anybody have anything that they want to throw out there in regards to that event there?
I mean, we know Brett would never have anything like that in his Turn 2 locker. So, I mean, just to have that picture kind of there. I mean, we knew it wasn't you, Brett.
Yeah. No, thank you. You know what? And this is the right call, Jeff. I support the board of directors on this 100%. You know, Sean's here, rising star in this podcasting industry. You know, fame is on the horizon for him, and he goes and does something irresponsible like this. You know, how am I supposed to explain that to my kid?
I don't know.
It's revolting. I'm glad we set precedent with this. You know, I fully support the decision, so thank you.
You know, as a rookie podcaster, I kind of look up to these veteran guys in the clubhouse to kind of take me under their wing. And Sean definitely took me under his wing during my time here. But, you know, it made some weird comments about things that made me a little uncomfortable. So I'm glad that Jeff has decided to take some action with the actions that Sean has been taking that have been going on for quite some time.
So, like I said, you know, we want nothing but him to get back to being the dominant podcaster that he can be. We've seen him when he commits himself fully that he can be among the very best in the game. So once he can get his game back together and like I said, gets a hold of his social media, it's off the show stuff is really what it is. He needs to clean up his off the show antics.
It's hard work and dedication, man. It's hard work and dedication. Does he want it enough? And I think right now the answer is clearly no.
Right. So
I mean, clearly with college football, it's going to start up in a couple months. I mean, that lifestyle really, I think it kind of took over. And, we'd like to see Sean get the help he needs and like you were saying, get back and be a productive member of this podcast.
Right. So with that being said, let's get into the main topics for this evening's show. We're going to start off with baseball. We've got a couple of baseball guys here, and Paul, I know you've been clamoring for baseball for about a month and a half. We're going to lead with baseball tonight, just because I think it's right now it's probably the hottest thing going on in our area. You talk about the Yankees, right now best record in baseball. Offense seemingly coming from every single spot. Pitching has been much better than I think everybody expected. I'll throw it to you, Brett, I guess first. Does this team is it too early to say this team is something special right now, or do you think it's reminiscent of some of the other younger teams that we've seen the Yankees have over the last, we're going back now 20-something years ago?
Yeah. Andrew Marchand, I think, tweeted yesterday that the Yankees are already rebuilt and they haven't finished below 500 since 1992. And that's impressive. To answer your question directly, let's enjoy the ride right now. I don't think anybody, through 30 games, if you told me that this team was going to be 21-9 through 30 games, I wouldn't have believed it before spring training. I just wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have seen it. 9-21, I would have seen, just because of their youth. But you're right. They're getting offense from everywhere, and they're have the best record in baseball. And, watching them right now, they're down 5-3 to Cincinnati in the fourth. But you know what? With this team, 5-3 doesn't seem impossible to overcome. Now, I don't know if they're going to win this game, but the point is the offense is coming from everywhere. They're getting hits from everybody. Aaron Hicks, who couldn't hit a lick last year, is a hitting machine. He's almost stolen the RBI machine title from Dave Willard in high school. It's insane. I love it. I love every second of it. It's fun to be a part of this, and it's fun to be a Yankee fan and go to games. Paul, I know you were clamoring big time for baseball, so I don't want to steal your spotlight here.
No, man, you said a lot of what I was thinking. I mean, the offense is just coming from everywhere. The only concern, like you said, it's early, and you can't win the division necessarily.
Not so fast, Pat Sajak.
But I mean, the offense is coming from everywhere. You just got to wonder if these young guys are going to hold up through a whole season. You got to wonder if the pitching staff is enough. CC is getting rocked again tonight. He's had a couple rough starts in a row, but they have the farm system to go out and get a piece if they need it later in the season.
That's important. Yeah.
So I mean, Didi Gregorius has come back. He's hit the ball well. I mean, he's another potential trade chip. So I'm excited about this team. It's exciting youth movement with the veterans have performed a lot better than I expected. I mean, I didn't expect shit from Ellsbury this year.
No, he's been doing good, and Gardner's starting to hit the ball recently, and it's crazy.
I would think that those guys are the trade chips. I don't think Didi's the trade chip. I think assuming that the young guys keep playing the way they're playing, I would think Ellsbury or Gardy are the trade chips come the deadline.
100%. I mean, Ellsbury's your ideal trade chip, right? Because you unload that massive contract. Right. But I just can't see somebody taking him. Gardner, I think they might be able to move, but we'll see.
Gardy to me is playing like the Gardner that you always thought he should be. Right. And I don't know if that's because the rest of the lineup is doing finally what they're, what he needs the rest of the lineup to do in order for him to excel. But I think he fits in very well with this group of guys.
Yes, he does. And so does really Ellsbury when he's playing the way he's playing, because those are your top of the lineup table setters that are going to get on base. They're even running a little bit more. Gardner's running a little bit more, a little bit of a higher tick than he normally does, and he doesn't run a lot. So you need those guys moving. You need those guys on base. And Gardner's sneaky. Both of them and Ellsbury this year too have shown they have sneaky power. They can really, connect. Gardner's been on fire with home runs in the past couple games. So it's a lot of fun. What actually concerns me, Paul, you're right about some of the deficiencies that they might have, because when I look down, I'm really actually kind of nervous about Baltimore right now. They are also playing at an incredible clip, and they have some serious veterans on that team with Machado and Trumbo, and their pitching it could be a little better, but their pitching seems to be holding up right now. So they scare me as a team. I don't know if the Yankees, I think it was you, Jeff, that asked, can they do this over the long haul? It depends. Who knows? This might be one of those magical seasons where it happens and we run with it, or, things can turn south fast. So I'm just going to enjoy the ride right now.
30 games.
I'm enjoying Brett's fucking arm motions tonight. You are very animated.
I think Yampo said that.
It's not even 9 o'clock and he's awake. It's great.
Wow.
My question is, like, is it 30 games is a benchmark, right? I mean, you got 30 games and they're obviously playing well over, 10 games, 11 games over 500 at this point. What's the next barometer? Is it 60? Like, are we taking this in increments of 30? Is it 50 games? When do we step back and say, all right, well, this is not a streak. This is now representative of who they are. Because I still think they could be in that streak of a team right now. I don't think that you can definitely say that this is who we're going to see for 162. Do you, Nick?
To be honest, if you're going to go into July, I would say is the barometer where the dog days of summer, when injuries are probably mounting up, the contenders start separating from the pretenders. So you get to mid-July around the trade deadline. Before there, if the Yankees are still first place, second place, obviously that's the team that they are. And then you could start becoming maybe buyers at the trade deadline. But until then, I'm going to be a little skeptical, just because a big injury to a guy like Gary Sanchez that puts him out for a really extended period of time. If they lose Tanaka, I mean, the pitching rotation could be dismantled completely. So until they get to that point, late June, early July, and they're still in it, I'm going to be a little skeptical.
Okay. I think that's fair. We do have a caller, so let's see if I can figure out how the hell to do this. I don't know if I can even do that, but let's.
Can you not? Because the picture is phenomenal.
Yeah, you could just leave him up as a picture.
I don't know. I'm having trouble, Kipper. I can't unmute you for some.
So snazzy.
JP, see if you can unmute yourself when you call in.
Yeah, I can. I actually I left it muted for a reason, to see if you knew how to unmute it or not.
Yeah, I definitely can do it. So on your end, do you have something on the Yankees or about baseball in general?
On the Yankees, I'm right in there with Nick. I think the Yankees are doing awesome right now, but let's see what they look like at the end of June, and see if these young guys can hack. Once it really starts becoming the dog days of summer. I mean, these guys are young. Right now they're kind of playing with piss and vinegar, but let's see what happens when they, when they really have to grind it out. So that's all I was thinking.
All right, cool. Well, give us a shout back when we're gonna touch on hockey at the end of the show. So definitely give us a call back when we do that. My question for you guys is, I guess, do you think that the inexperience that these guys have right now is serving as a benefit to them, that they don't know any different? Is there something to be said about the fact that they don't know that they're not supposed to be 11 games over 500 because so many of them haven't been there contributing the way they are? Is there anything to that, or is that just good storytelling?
I don't know. I mean,
go ahead, Nick. Take it.
I think the personalities of these players is perfect for New York, because you got a guy like Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez. They're just very calm demeanored guys that it doesn't seem like too much bothers them or get early on. But I think I like that mindset that they have, because they're not hotheads. They're not guys that are going to cause any trouble off the field, it seems like, at this point. But that's what you need when you're playing in the New York market. You got to have guys that are just put your head down and grind and worry about completely submerging yourself into the season. And that's what they're doing so far. I think that's paying off.
Well, we'll see. You know, I mean, it's a matter of figuring it out from there. You know, I'm not entirely sure that it's gonna keep on. Let's switch gears here and go to the other side of New York and talk about the Mets, who seriously just can't seem to do anything right. and I know it's going to sound like I'm picking on them, but you know, they're currently 15-16. I think if you had asked anybody on this panel if we had envisioned them being 15-16, I don't think anybody would tell you that they would have been that bad. You know, you got Conforto and you got Jay Bruce.
Fuck is Jay Bruce?
You know, playing at lights out pace, you know, which are two very positive signs for that team, right? Because, you know, the expectations for both of those guys were probably pretty mediocre to low going in there. You had no idea what they were going to give you, and they've been performing really well. You know, but you got the Mets PR staff tweeting out, you know, just like shades of Sean. You got the Mets PR staff tweeting out like dildos in the background of photos after they win games. So even when they win games, they come out as losers. And then you got the Matt Harvey stuff, you know, and I know Brett, I know you were fired up about the Harvey stuff. So you know, I don't know if you want to share, just jump right into that.
You know, what's crazy is my thoughts are jumbled about Harvey. All right. First of all, the Mets are they're going to probably move to 16-16 tonight. They'll probably beat the Giants because the Giants are god awful, and I think they're ahead right now. So, you know, when we conceptualize this idea about the Mets, they were kind of spinning out of control. Their last two Sundays have been pretty terrible. You know, they lost 2 Sundays ago. They lost Syndergaard for 3 months. And then last Sunday was the whole Harvey debacle. But despite all that, they've won 7-10. They're on their way to win another one. But Matt Harvey, okay, so I'm gonna talk out this story because I kind of want to know what everyone else has heard. But what I could possibly gather from this is the fact that Harvey went out drinking to One Oak on Friday night, Cinco de Mayo. Okay, he was apparently out till 4 a.m. I don't care how late he was out, but he was apparently out till 4 a.m. Played golf the next morning, then had a migraine and didn't go to the ballpark, just didn't show up for work.
That's called a fucking hangover.
Is that not? That's what a hangover is, right? Like, how many? We've all had hangover.
Not Nick.
If I was getting paid the amount of money that this guy is getting paid, the future that this guy has on the line, I would not be missing a baseball game. He was an off day. It was an off day. He didn't have to do anything. He was pitching Sunday. He literally had to put his uniform on and get to the ballpark. I don't understand how that doesn't happen. And it just seems like this stuff happens with the Mets all the time. And I can't figure out what that is. A guy who listens to our podcast had texted me and he said, I have a question about Matt Harvey thing and I want you to bring it up on the show. I said, sure. What's up? He said, is this the Mets or is this a symptom of Harvey's New York lifestyle? And I can't answer him honestly right now because it seems like it happens with the Mets all the time. But then I got this party boy who just loves going out, has a hangover, and just doesn't show up to work. And basically, yeah, while that was a shitty move, that was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back for the Mets. He's been doing this type of stuff for years. They just let it go because he was pitching them to a World Series and he was the Dark Knight, which, by the way, is the stupidest name in all of sports. From now on this podcast, just call me Aquaman. That's what my nickname is now. I just made it up too. It's fucking stupid. You can't just make up nicknames.
I heard Cameron's attached to that project. I'm just throwing that out there.
So we'll call you Aquaman with that fucking water bottle that you keep opening.
Well, man,
that was really good, Paul. That was really good.
Thanks, bro.
So
I don't think one of the sound bites.
To bring it back to Harvey, yeah, I'm flabbergasted by the whole thing that occurred, and I've had this like wave of emotions from start to finish. So I don't know how you guys feel, but
Here's the thing about Harvey. Harvey is pitching like 15 to 20 years too late. Because if he was pitching in like the early 90s or maybe even longer, in the late 80s, he would have shown up to the ballpark, hung over, and there would have been a bowl of greenies out in the middle of the freaking locker room.
In the 80s, there
if he was an 86 Met.
Yeah, he was an 86
Met. He would have showed up. He would have showed up hung over, and Doc Gooden would have called him a pussy. Like that's how it would have rolled. Like it's like,
and Doc wouldn't have slept the night before. He would have still been up from the night before from the
That's
party.
cocaine.
Yeah.
That's a different set of problems.
Let's say that's a good thing because apparently Doc Gooden actually was like, yeah, I'm a little concerned about Matt Harvey.
The drug.
We like to bust a lot on Francesa on this podcast, and rightfully so. Okay. But he said something today that I was actually like, wow, he's making a ton of sense. He was saying that all these guys come up in New York and they want to be Derek Jeter. They say they want to be Derek Jeter. And Harvey said it before. He's previously that's what he wants to be known as in New York. Derek Jeter never did this type of stuff. And they don't understand that until they go through it and make stupid decisions. And I was actually like, you know what, man? You make a pretty solid point. You can't just say you want to be something. Your actions show it. Jeter didn't know he was Jeter. He played the game the right way. He came up, he played years, he played under veterans, and then when the veterans started to leave and it was his team to take over, he took it over and he made that step. He became Jeter. He wasn't just Jeter from the start.
So it's so typical Northeast. It's so typical American for freaking Matt Harvey to be like, oh, I want to be Derek Jeter. But I don't want to put in any of the effort that Derek Jeter put in to be Derek Jeter. I just want to have this natural ability and expect it to carry me this far. Derek Jeter is a goddamn unicorn, right?
Oh yeah.
The guy not only was he was incredibly talented, he was the hardest worker in any room. So, like, you know, his wife wrote a piece for the Players Tribune that she like didn't get how he was so invested in baseball until that last night when he retired. And she was like, oh, now I get it. Like, you can't just decide because you're good and you play in New York that you're going to be Derek Jeter. You got to outwork everybody.
Yes.
And Matt Harvey has never, to me, and again, I'm not a Met fan, so maybe I'm not doing it justice, but to me, he's never worked harder than anybody in that room. And I think that that's symptomatic of a lot of athletes today, that they they have this ability and they let that take them as far as it'll go, and they don't work as hard as they should.
Yeah, you never hear stories about Harvey outworking anyone else. I mean, he came up, you know, he had a good couple years, blew out his arm, came back, pitched all right. But now you look at Harvey and you know, he's not the same pitcher. He's not the best pitcher on that team. I mean, that's obviously Syndergaard. You know, you put probably DeGrom ahead of him. Matt's, when he's healthy, is better than Harvey. So, you know, he's not going to be a Met after next year. So it's just, if he gets back, maybe he works hard and earns himself a decent contract. And he said before, you know, he wants a big contract. He wants a big deal.
He's a Boris client.
Yeah, he's got the right agent to do it. But I mean, he hasn't shown it on the field. He hasn't shown it in the clubhouse. You know, unless there's certain things you're looking for. But I mean,
I don't know. Lewis Black has a bit about gambling in Las Vegas. And he says, if you want to know what it's like to go and gamble in Las Vegas, because I want you to go and get $100 worth of quarters. And I want you to go in the bathroom and I want you to flush every single one of them down the toilet. And then if it backs up and water shoots out, you're the winner. And I feel like that's what Harvey's done. Like, he's sitting on this winning lottery ticket and he just doesn't remember where he put it. Like, and it's just, it's so incredibly unfortunate to watch a guy that has that much ability and has that much desire for the limelight and doesn't know how to put them both together.
It's not even that. It's just the team he's on. Like, that pitching staff.
That's it. Yeah.
The fact that they're going to make one World Series and they lost that World Series to the Royals. If, you know, they're probably not going to make it back. I mean, with that pitching staff, that's just a shame. I mean, it's probably the best top to bottom pitching staff we've seen since the Braves.
Yeah, probably. As a team, actually, I completely agree with that.
Well, and they underperformed too, to be fair.
Well, I mean, yes. I don't know. Baseball's a fickle game like that. I mean, did they? Yes, Jeff, you're right. They did underperform, but I mean, you know, they won a title, and that says a lot. But this all ties back to my buddy's original question. This inability to work. Is this the Mets? Whose fault is this? Is this the Mets' fault or is this Matt Harvey's fault? Because I think a lot of blame goes on the Met organization for tolerating this type of behavior.
I would say the one thing I would have to add is he's a pitcher. So I'm going to say that he might think that because he has an off day, he doesn't have to do anything. And that's completely wrong. I'm going to give you an example. in high school. This is high school. This is not college. This is not single A, double A. This is high school. You know what the pitchers on my high school baseball team did when they weren't pitching? They did drills. They did sprints. They did arm workouts. They did leg workouts. They did certain drills on their off days up until they had a start. They always had something to do each and every day, and they put in that work. This is in high school. So if he doesn't think that he needs to put in work on his off days as a professional, there's something wrong with him.
So your boys put in work, and Matt Harvey just pounds beers.
The point is, like, even at a high school level, you need to like do stuff on your off day. Pitching is very exhausting on your body. It's a full body workout. It'll leave you drenched in sweat and exhausted and sore. You have to be able to put your body in shape to get ready for that start that you have. You can't just show up on your start and be like, oh, let me warm up a little bit and then I'll throw. And then on my off day, I'm going to go pound some beers, go out to the strip club till 4 a.m. and then play golf. Like, okay.
The old John Daly.
Not everybody can be Michael Jordan.
That is exactly.
But here's my last question for you, Nick, though, right? All that considered, with Harvey, would you still put him on your team?
No. He sucks. His ERA is like 5.5.
Who cares?
It's time for your favorite segment.
Jesus Christ.
Ouch.
Who cares? We've got I love this one. This is my favorite one. Kendrick Perkins. Yeah, Kendrick Perkins. He bridged the gap between Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. They're now talking. And actually,
great.
Kendrick said he wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to Oklahoma.
Cares?
Just, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what is this, high school? Like, did he slip him a note like, I like you?
Hi, Russell.
Yuck. Just yuck. I'm so mad Yampo's not here for that because he would have enjoyed that.
Not so fast, Pat Sajak.
Why are we even talking about basketball? Why are we even talking about it?
Lonzo Ball.
Oh, this fucking Lonzo Ball.
Again, every week, fucking Lonzo Ball.
Who put this in here? Who put this in the fucking rundown?
Nick, was it you?
Lonzo Ball's shoes cost just under $500. They sold very few. But the good thing, and Brett, I know this is your area, is the sliders. They're an affordable $200.
That's what you want. That's where that's kind of my range right there for sandals or flip-flops. $200. The shoes, yeah, maybe they're a little excessive, and I gotta agree with Lonzo here. If you don't have the money for that, you're just not a big baller. So sorry.
Absolutely.
But
I'm okay with not being a big baller if that's the case.
If that's the life you want to lead, Jeff. That sounds like a Sean lifestyle, something that ban you from the podcast for. But me, I'm a big baller, so I'd get the shoes. But I like the sandals. Perfect. $200, easy, affordable, probably the most comfortable sliders you'll ever wear. So
all right. First of all, those are not the kind of sliders that are in your wheelhouse.
Fair.
Second of all, those shoes are ugly as fuck.
The best line I heard was from a student of mine today. He looks at me, he goes, Mr. Cole, did you see the new Lonzo Ball shoes? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what'd you think? He goes, do you ever go to Walmart and you see those like knockoff like kid shoes, right? That kind of look like they're supposed to look like something that might be a shoe that a pro athlete would wear. He goes, that's what they look like. I'm like, you're so right.
They get those for like $15 on the clearance rack.
They make Starburys look like Jordans. It's ridiculous.
Who cares?
Moving on. I love this one too. Joey Julius. Anybody hear this story? Joey Julius, he's the Penn State kicker. He's seeking treatment for binge eating.
He's a fat ass.
Yeah. Am I wrong that this is his second time?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, I know this is a Who Cares segment, but when I read this, I was like, oh, man. I remember reading the story the first time, and I was like, oh, man, I feel bad for him. But go ahead.
You feel bad for him or you feel like him? Which one is it?
I hate Penn State so much. So any chance I have to bash their fucking stupid program, I'll do it.
But here's
it'd be great if they sent them to fat camp instead of reporting to summer football camp.
And what's his name? Ben Stiller's the counselor, right? Wasn't that stupid movie Heavyweights or something stupid like that?
Yeah, I think that was him.
But here's the question: like, you can't tell me, and maybe this is just me pulling back my curtain. I doubt it. But you can't tell me that if given the proper motivation, everybody in this panel couldn't put a pizza back themselves, right?
If I'm hungry enough, maybe. But why would you want to do that?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like you're telling me that it's happened before, right? You've had your fair share. You've definitely eaten north of 4 slices of pizza at some point in your life, correct?
5, probably 5.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So if you are a quote binge eater, that's not to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's something that needs to seek treatment for. You just need to stop eating.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, can you imagine
Stop being a fat Penn State shit.
Fair enough. JP, do you have something on the Penn State kicker?
Screw Penn State.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Great call. Good call.
Thank you, Connor.
Does it bother anyone else that JP
You waited
has
10 hours for that call?
JP has the best setup of anyone? He's got like sports pictures on the wall.
Well, next to Nick, you mean?
We've been doing this for 37 episodes, and I'm still sitting on the same fucking blank wall with a mirror behind me.
Well, I'm still in freaking Buffalo Bills basement, so it's fine.
Cove, we have a couple loyal listeners at work, and they actually asked me. They're like, the kid that runs the whole thing, is he podcasting from his parents' basement?
Yes. We're live from
shout out
The kid that runs it.
Shout out to Bobby and Haney.
Let's build something together. Tony Romo, he did not qualify for the U.S. Open. He shot 3 over 75, 6 shots of qualifying. Do we care? Do we not care, or is this legitimately impressive? I'm not sure.
I don't really care. The one thing that bothers me, there's like athletes that get recruited for like 9 different sports in college. This guy's a phenomenal quarterback and a scratch golfer, and I fucking hate him.
Yeah, it's really annoying, isn't it?
Okay, that wasn't you. Weren't you recruited for multiple sports, Paul?
Sure. Yeah, we'll let everyone think so.
Wow, multiple sport recruit. You declined both of them?
No.
College football player right here.
And ran track in college.
Oh, really?
Did you really?
Jeff, I would.
The Northeast 10 championship, baby.
Before or after the first knee?
It was after the second. It might have been after the second kney. I don't know.
It shows you how fast.
I could have been something.
Shows you how fast everybody was. You have 2 reconstructed knees and you still win a conference title.
I didn't win a conference title.
Who are you running against? Like 3rd grade girls?
Nick's girlfriend.
Like field day, and Paul shows up. His pace track uniform. Shows up at the Pleasantville field day. It's like, I'm here for the 40-yard dash. One of those awful, stupid ribbons that fall apart the second you get it. Hangs it up in his dorm room. Like Nick with his college poster and his mouthwash.
I got bananas up there now. You see the bananas?
You got bananas. That's good. Now, will you eat those bananas prior to – how many exams you got left?
I'm done. I'm just –
Who cares?
In the broadcasting world, we called that a back-to-back.
And a belly to belly.
All right, let's talk about the NBA. We got the Cavs and the Warriors. They've swept through the first 2 rounds, 8-0. My question is, I'll throw it out to you, Nick. Are they destined to meet each other in the finals?
Yeah, the NBA playoffs blows. I mean, it's not even competitive. In what other sport would the 2 and 3 seed meet, where the 2 seed just absolutely blows the 3 seed out of the water in every game they play? I mean, even Charles Barkley even said, "Thank God for the NHL playoffs," because there's 2 Game 7s about to happen, and we might have a Game 7 between the Rangers and Senators, even though Ottawa's up. But I mean, the NBA playoffs to me is just so overrated. There's a couple good series, but when you have those teams that are just so dominant, it makes it almost unwatchable.
Somebody needs to tell Chuck that he doesn't broadcast hockey, and he shouldn't be trashing the product that pays his salary. Like, why would he say, like, "Oh, NBA player, we're terrible. We should go watch hockey"? Like, what's wrong with you? You a moron?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I bet he would hang out with the Penn State kicker and put down a couple of pizzas. I was watching the Warriors the other night, and Yampa was all fired up.
Not so fast, Pat Sajak.
And he was saying, that how he hates the NBA, but I think the Warriors are clunky. Am I the only one who thinks that they just don't fit. They just have this, incredible semblance of talent that at a certain point, just one guy has to take over the offense, as opposed to the old Warriors offense where it kind of flowed a little bit more. I think at the addition of Durant, like at a certain point, he starts to play one-on-one. I think it's clunky.
I will agree with you that it's clunky, but I'll say this. Any Olympic basketball, like, you ever watch an Olympic basketball team, our men's guys, like, they're clunky too because they're so good and but they're amazing. They crush everybody and they win gold medals. And I kind of feel like that's what the Warriors are. They're this collection of superstars in the NBA playing against teams that don't have a collection of superstars, and they're beating them on talent alone. So do they have like just this crisp, perfect rhythm with each other? No, but I don't even think they're going to need it. I really don't. I think they're going to win the NBA championship this year, and I think they're going to take their second in 3 years from LeBron and the Cavs.
I kind of like that, I think. Right? I mean, are any of you rooting for LeBron? Because I'm just not.
I am.
You are? Why?
I hate the Warriors. I think they're so unlikable.
But so you're rooting more against Golden State than you are for LeBron?
I actually do. I do like LeBron. I mean, I know he rubs people the wrong way, but I think his greatness cannot be underestimated enough. I mean,
all right. Spurs and Rockets, the Wizards and Celtics. Those have been pretty good series. I know that your boy, the supposed MVP.
I made an edit to the rundown. I don't know if you saw it.
The real Slim Shady, James Harden. He's been very good. I think that the bigger issue with that series is Parker going down. I think Parker going down just totally transformed that series into a situation where even if San Antonio manages to get by Houston, they're not getting by. They're going to pose no real threat to Golden State.
Yeah, you know what? I know we're going to get there, but I feel like this is what happened when Crosby went down for the Penguins. Like, I almost feel like you made it seem like, well, I guess the other team's going to win now. And if they do happen to survive, there's no way they're getting past the next round. So it did. The loss of Parker is huge.
The sneaky thing that I think nobody's been talking about, and I will just touch on it real fast and then move on to hockey, actually, is I think that Wizards Celtics series with the guard play in that series has been like one of those the most impressive guard plays happening in that series, and nobody's paying attention unless they live in DC or Boston. From my perspective, anyway.
Yes, we said it last week. We said about John Wall. I mean, we did touch on both of them. We touched on Thomas too. But I've just loved the way I'm tried to not be a John Wall fan when he came into the NBA.
He's so good.
But he's so good. So watching, he's kind of like almost, turn the tide the way probably. Nick, I got a question for you. I want to jump real quick back to the Warriors. A couple of years ago, and I'm not like picking on you. I like genuinely want this opinion. A couple of years ago, when the Warriors were first coming together and being the Warriors, they were like the team to love. Like, everybody jumped on it. Even if like they weren't your team, you were like, yo, the Warriors are fun. Curry shoots these balls from half court. He's got his mouthpiece dangling out of his mouth. He does little shimmies. It's really incredible. And then that act kind of got old after a while. So like, I get the hate now. Were you on the bandwagon when they first started?
I like Steph Curry. I still kind of like Steph Curry, but what rubbed me the wrong way was that finals where they beat the Cavs when LeBron was playing with like Matthew Dellavedova or whatever, and that was like his first option to pass to, and Kevin Love was like not even existent in that series, and the Warriors were just trash talking them like blah 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 whatever, and ever since then they've just been so arrogant. They just complain a lot. They talked about how the Cavs aren't playing anyone good in the East. Meanwhile, they played the Trailblazers and the Jazz. I mean, that's not really much more impressive than the Pacers and the Raptors. So I mean, they're just really annoying, and I really can't stand them.
All right.
So what he really can't stand is they actually became an NBA team. It's really what it is, right? I mean, because like realistically, they were some young guys that didn't have some success, and then they had success, and they're like, oh, I'm an NBA player. I need to just be a complete douche. Is really
pretty much.
So
a lot of that's Draymond Green.
Oh yeah, he's
talking and punching people in the ding ding.
He's the oversized circus straw that stirs that drink of crazy, right?
Easily the least likable player on that team.
He's such a scumbag.
But if he's on your team, you're like, I love.
Yeah, man. He's like, yeah, he's like 90s Knicks.
Oh, he totally is.
You throw him on those 90s Knicks teams, like kicking people, like he's in.
I can't wait till he gets kicked out of the Coliseum like 20 years from now.
But I'll tell you what.
That's a good line.
He's infinitely more talented than anybody Ewing ever played with. If Ewing played with on Green, Ewing would have a ring. Like he's that much better than anybody that.
Yeah, I just meant like the on court like toughness, you know, like.
And that's about the only thing I do like about him. Hockey.
Speaking of toughness,
JP,
give us a live update. What do we got going on right now?
Rangers were down 2-0. I don't know if that's still.
Yeah, mid-second period, still 2-0.
Yeah, they're still 2-0.
And that's at home, right?
Yeah.
That is in the Garden. Where
Craig Anderson is standing on his head right now. I don't want to jinx it, but he's playing out of his mind.
All right, so Henrik has given up 2 at home early on. We'll double back to that series just because it's the local one. Anybody else really just enjoying Nashville?
I'm on the bandwagon completely.
What about them has put you there? Just
well, actually, I visited the city over the summer. I fell in love with the city. The team is just very likable.
Did you build houses there?
Huh?
Did you build houses there?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Pecorini's great. I mean, I've always been a big fan of PK Subban. I think he's one of the realest guys in the league. He puts his 100% effort into everything he does. And when he left Montreal, it was much easier to root for him. They just have good guys. Mike Fisher is a very likable guy. I don't know. They're just a gritty group of guys that just, as the 8th seed, have just dominated the playoffs so far.
They've just been fun. I completely echo Nick. I did the same thing. Yampo and I went to the All-Star game there a couple of years back and just fell in love with the city, fell in love with the hockey in the city. They're a fun team to watch. Look at our other options, man. Like, screw the Penguins, screw the Capitals, screw the Rangers. So the East, I don't want anybody coming out of there. And, you know, you got Oilers and Ducks, whatever.
Well, let's quickly talk about them because they got a Game 7 coming up tomorrow. Do you have a strong take on either team, or is it just a pick 'em?
It's got to be a pick 'em for me. I forget who I took. Yampo took one team, and I said screw it. I think Yampo was taking the Oilers, and I think I took the Ducks.
The game's in Anaheim,
so I'm just going to take the Ducks again if I took them last time.
Okay. I'd like to see Edmonton come out of that just because they have the best player in hockey. So anytime you get exposed,
young guns.
Anytime you get exposure to the best player, best young player in hockey on a national stage, if they play their fucking Stanley Cup games on any normal station, it's probably good for the sport.
I'm not even playing around. The other night, I was legitimately trying to find the hockey game. I was like, "What the hell channel is this crap on? I can't find it." I mean, I have DirecTV, so I have a million channels that I don't watch. Like, if I really wanted to watch some episode
Makes
of,
sense.
2.5 Men from 13 years ago, I could definitely find that on 6 channels, but I can't find it.
What channel was it on?
It was on NBC Sports, I guess, but
on NBC Sports? Okay.
But I was under the impression it was going to be on NBC because it was I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday, so I thought they would have it on the network, but they didn't. So
yeah,
I don't know. All right, so you think whoever Yampo doesn't have, Brett?
Yeah, that's my go-to. Whoever Yampo doesn't have, I'm taking the other team in Game 7.
Penguins Caps tomorrow night. Who do you got, Paul?
I want to see the Caps. I want to see the Caps kind of break this playoff drought. Again, whenever you can have star players advance and kind of get them out there, between Ovechkin and Oshie, I think they're exciting offensive players that I'd like to see that move forward.
Okay, Nick.
I really want the Caps to win, but until they prove otherwise, I'm going to pick the Penguins.
Okay, so your heart is telling you Washington, but
but I can't bet against Crosby, and I can't bet for the Capitals to advance.
Brett.
I honestly, this could go in.
Not so fast, Pat Sajak.
This could almost go in like who cares for me because I don't like either team. I'll tell you what, like watching Ovechkin around All-Star games, he's like a really funny guy. So I like him from that perspective. But I don't know. I don't root for him, and I don't root for the Washington Capitals because I don't really like Washington D.C. sports for some reason. I have a weird bias against them.
I think he's got to be easier to root for than Crosby, though, right?
Probably, because Crosby's burned me in the Olympics.
That game, the gold medal game. Oh,
yeah. So I have a little extra hate in my heart for Crosby than I do for Ovechkin. So I guess the Caps, but like either one, I don't really. I don't care. As long as they beat the Rangers, if the Rangers advance, then I'm good with it.
We got JP in Lincoln Park. What's up?
I'm surprised none of you guys have talked about the fact that Crosby's one hit away from being Eric Lindros.
That's not even a joke, though. Like he
got smashed last night.
Listen,
he got smashed into the boards.
Yeah, listen, I'm not trying to make light of it. I mean, I know the NHL tried to put out a statement saying why they didn't take him off the ice, but a lot of people watch hockey because of Sidney Crosby. Not unlike when Wayne Gretzky was Wayne Gretzky, people tuned into games that, the Oilers or the Rangers or the Kings were playing because Gretzky was playing. People do the same thing with him. I mean, literally, if he gets hit like Stevens hit Lindros in the playoffs and he goes into the fetal position, what's their stance now? It seems like I get hockey players are tough and you always have that mentality that, hockey players, they'll skate on one leg or they'll skate on a broken leg in order to play in the playoffs. But I mean, at what point, especially with the head injury issue, do you stop and say, all right, maybe we need to take a look at this?
I love that they don't. That's one of my biggest complaints with the NFL is the NFL was one thing and they've made money off of what it was forever, to the point where they were selling DVDs of greatest hit. And then sometime they bought into this entire PC culture that we have. And they were like, oh no, we really have to take care of their players. No, that's garbage. You have a violent sport. When was the last time you saw the boxing federations coming out saying we really got to take care of our sport? What's the latest from Dana White on we need to take care of our athletes and make sure they don't have head injuries? No, it's a violent sport. It's a part of what goes on, and people get hurt. And you run the risk of getting hurt because of the paycheck, and it's that simple. And I love that they didn't. The NHL. It's actually the only thing, and I think it speaks because Gary Bettman just probably didn't even realize it happened because he's such a dumbass. But I think it speaks volumes to the fact that the culture of the fan base in hockey wouldn't have wanted that guy off the ice.
No, they probably wouldn't have. I feel your point. I understand, but it's not like Roger Goodell grew a conscience one day and was like, we need to talk about concussions. This is legally and lawsuit motivated, right? So until a group of hockey players get together and sue the league, or until a bunch of boxers get together and sue the federations, nothing will change. But when the NFL players did it, then things had to change. So it's not like these commissioners are like sitting around one day and they're like, yo, we should do a better job. They don't care. They're trying to make money. Once their pockets get hit, then it motivates them to change. And that's where that problem lies.
It can change. I think hockey can change because, you look at the equipment they wear, right? I mean, the helmets look kind of shitty. It looks like something Nick wears when he rides his fucking tricycle in his mom's basement.
No, I'm in my mom's basement.
Oh, right. But I mean, these guys could go to like a full mask. These guys could. I mean, they're getting down blocking shots. I mean, you don't want to see guys taking pucks off the face.
I agree. And you get these injuries where the pucks, they get 100-mile-per-hour slap shot in their jaw, and all of a sudden the next game they come out with a full mask. It's like, why don't they wear the full mask all the time? That would avoid any of the injuries they have. Oh, well, it'll block their view when they're trying to skate. Like, get used to it. That's what they use in college and high school. Like, you'll get used to it. It's better for your safety.
Well, think about this. I mean, Nick, you probably weren't born when they were playing hockey in the NHL without helmets. I mean, I remember Craig McTavish was the last one to wear a helmet or without a helmet, and he was, with the Rangers. That was, I think, 94. He was grandfathered into it. So, I mean, as far as hockey with the rules with protecting the head and all that stuff, I mean, hockey's slowly moved towards, protecting the player more and more. I agree with you. I think every player should have to wear a full face mask. Then you don't have the issues of these guys getting hit in the face with the puck or with a stick, or the guys going up and, getting hit in the eye or just under the eye, getting cut with the heel of the stick or something like that. I mean, it would actually make the game better, I think. So
we're so soft. It's crazy.
Tell me that if you take a stick to the face.
Yeah,
put a helmet on.
I'm not saying that I would do it. I'm saying that this is it's a game that's what's built into it. That there are defensive plans put together to take out the puck before it hits your goaltender with any part of your body. This is what the game is. Just like there were defensive schemes designed to smack a wide receiver that came across the middle in the head. That was part of the game.
You're right. But they still had a regular helmet on.
That made the game better. The NFL was better.
A puck in the jaw is better for the league.
I think if you put the helmets on those guys the way you're talking to, and you paid the same attention to head injuries that leagues like the NFL has had, that whole he's so tough, he's a hockey player mystique goes away, and it does even more damage to a game that needs every positive PR piece it could possibly get to separate it from the other sports. Hockey's different from the other sports, and that's what they should be promoting to get a bigger fan base, not trying to make it more like the other sports.
I don't know if hockey's doing a job to market itself to a bigger fan base. I think they're very happy with their niche audience, and I think they're
why they're playing on NBC Sports as opposed to playing on.
Sure, from a marketing perspective, you make 100% sense, but it just doesn't seem right from an actual human rights perspective. Like I remember being a child at Devil games and turning to my dad. I'm not even making this up for the show. I remember this clear as day and being like, Dad, why is that guy not wearing a helmet? My dad was like, some guys just don't have to. And I remember in my head at like 6 years old being like, that's insane. Why would you choose to not wear a helmet? So I think from a fundamental basic human level, protect your dome piece.
I can just picture Big Jer 6 Manhattans in the third period.
Pre-Uber, like no way to get home.
Talking about this hockey tough talk, Eric Carlson is playing with 2 hairline fractures on his heel. He just went coast to coast and scored on Lundqvist.
Nice. 3-0?
3-0?
3-1. 3-1.
3-1.
Well, listen.
This guy's an animal.
The bottom line is LeBron's tired and needs to take a couple nights off.
Which is fine. Let's give him a rest.
Someone to rub his loins.
So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully the Rags get knocked out tonight and we don't have to deal with them anymore, and I can listen to Boomer Esiason and complain about how somebody.
Oh, I love when they lose and I have to hear them in the morning.
Let's wrap it up with some garbage time. A couple things I saw here. The latest from LeVar Ball. Michael Jordan's not Lonzo Ball, so he can't sell his $495 gear. It's awesome. Brett, your boy Aaron Hernandez, a judge vacated his murder conviction because he hung himself in a cell. So that's good, right?
I don't want to talk.
Even in death, the Patriots find a way to keep it with them.
I don't want to talk about it because that guy is such a piece of shit, and this world is a better place without him here. It fires me up, and I'm gonna say something I regret. So screw it.
Do your job, right? He just to the very end. The Patriot way. Scumbag. Anybody? Paul, you got anything else you want to close with that one?
What the fuck is going on?
I don't know. It's an airplane? Is someone landing a plane?
JP's landing a helicopter on his house. What do you got, Paul?
Now, my one thing for garbage time was Manny Machado got thrown at a couple times in the Red Sox series, and I own Manny Machado in my Dynasty Way Too Real Fantasy Baseball League, and he went off on a curse-laden rant talking shit about the Red Sox organization, the players, how they're throwing at him, they can't hit him, whatever. And that guy's fucking 100% right, first of all. And second of all, he hit like 3 home runs in that series, and the punctuation on the whole thing was he hit a moonshot over the monster and took 30 seconds to round the bases. And I fucking love you, Manny Machado.
Awesome. Brett, what do you got?
I have nothing tonight. I searched long and far to try and come up with something. I have nothing. Paul, I do echo your sentiment. I also love Manny Machado. I'll tell you this: he'd look good in pinstripes.
He would. I mean, you talk about Harper and Machado being like the crown jewels of free agency. Machado fits better.
I think so too. So we'll see what happens. That's still a ways down the road, but I want him. I want him in the Bronx.
Okay, Nikki J, what do you got?
I'm going to a big Rutgers graduation party at Harrah's tomorrow night in Atlantic City, so that should be interesting. Do you guys have any good numbers to play for roulette?
13 and 18. 13.
18 was always a big one.
So the story we have about roulette, real quickly, we'll wrap up with this one. Is Brett and I are out in Las Vegas one night, and we went to a music festival out there actually. So we were there for literally 3 days, and we didn't spend much time on the casino floor because we were, having Matt Harvey night over at the at the music festival. So we go to the roulette table. It's literally like the last night we're there, and our flight is out early in the morning. So we're just like, all right, well, we're just not gonna go to bed. We'll play, and then we'll just walk from the casino floor onto the cab and then onto the plane and sleep on the plane. And so, we're playing, and we had to be like 22, 23 years old at the time, and we weren't that old, so we didn't really have any.
Yeah, we were young. Yeah, we were young.
So I drop a 25 chip on 21, which is my birthday. It's the only bet I make, right? And it hits. And Brett's sitting next to me, and I think you had kind of a rough stretch of things, right, at that time.
Whenever I gamble, I have a rough stretch. So, yeah.
So Brett's birthday is the 18th, right? So I go, all right, I'm gonna play 18 for you, right? So back to back 25 bets on 21.
What?
Again, and it hits again. I thought Brett
way.
To throw up on my shoes. He was so angry.
Dude, I mean, I was happy for you too, but angry at the fact that, dude, back to back $25 hits.
Wow.
Roulette is something I'll never see again. Never.
So the bottom line is this: is if you do happen to do something like that, you got to do the right thing, and with whoever you're with, everybody goes, and the meal is on you wherever you're at that point. So.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, okay.
No, that's
okay. Just make sure that
100% what happened. Then you have to go and buy everybody whatever they're gonna eat. I mean, you're gonna stay out till 4 a.m. and make sure you make it to your job the next day. Yes,
exactly.
Thanks to JP for calling in. Check us out on all social media. Turn 2 podcast on everything. Subscribe away on iTunes. Share away with all of your friends. And we do have a show coming up for the band that provides the intro song for us, a reunion show coming up. So I'll give you some more information on that. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. Ed Tang and the Chops, before Eddie actually goes off to fight for our country. So I'll give that information. Anybody that's interested, they can head down to Asbury Park to hear that. So until next week, folks, thanks for taking the time, and we'll catch you later.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land.
See ya.
Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop.
See ya.
You, auf Wiedersehen, Gesundheit, farewell.